All right, is it time yet? Yes, it is 2 o'clock. So welcome everybody to the end of the week, and all this learning is coming to an end. It's Friday. We are going to be talking about Google Classroom intermediate techniques, mostly assignments and things that you can do with assignments and grading. My name is Nikki Tygeson, and I'm the regional digital coach for the Far Northeast. And I believe I have two helpers on here right now, fellow coaches Lindsay and Brian. If you guys want to introduce yourselves, that'd be great.
Hi there, I'm Brian Dino, the Northwest Region Digital Coach.
And Lindsay, are you still here?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry. My son is watching television, so I just wanted to pause it there for a second. Sorry about that.
No worries.
My name is Lindsay Scales, and I am a digital coach with this team. And I do also, Nikki, want to say that I do see Laura on here as well, so she might want to introduce herself too.
Yay, Laura, hello. Introduce yourself.
Hi, Steve thought maybe you could use a little extra help. And so today I'm a digital coach at Lincoln High School and KCAA. So shout out to those teachers. And Nikki, you sound so cute online. I'm excited for this.
Well, thank you. I have very, very good help here today. So I have to say this is my very first intermediate of the week, so it might be a little bit rough, and I apologize in advance, but I hope that it will turn out to be beneficial. So what we're going to focus on today is going over types of assignments, and again, things you can do with those assignments. The first assignment we're going to look at is if you were going to give an essay and how you can grade an essay with a comment bank. It just really speeds up the grading process for you. We're going to talk about an assignment that would have a rubric attached. We'll learn how to make a rubric and see how that looks as a student and as a teacher. We're going to look at questions as assignments and how that looks if your students are able to comment freely in the class or if they're restricted. And then we will look at quizzes as assignments. So let's get started. All right, so I'm going to go over to this tab here, Google Classroom. So at this point, we should all be pretty good on basics on how to start Google Classrooms and all of the, the general things that we do. I'm going to be jumping straight into a course that I've created called Intermediate GC Class. And I'm going to go straight over to classwork. And you can see that I have created drafts for all of the things we're going to talk about today. And they're not in topics yet. So they're just kind of hovering here above everything and just, not really a part of anything, but we're going to fix all that. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about an essay assignment. So I want to go in and I want to edit this. I'm going to click on these three dots and hit edit. And I'm just going to make sure that I have it the way I want it before I assign it. Actually, before I do that, I probably should join this class as a student because I have not yet done that, I don't think. So I'm going to go over here. Over here really quick and grab this code. I should have done this before. I wasn't thinking. So here's my student account. I'm going to go quickly to Google Classroom. I am going to join this class. If only it could be this fast to get all of your students in their classes. Okay, here we go. Now I'm a student. All right, back to teacher mode, classwork. I'm going to edit this first assignment, the essay assignment. So what I'm asking my students to do in this one is I'm not attaching anything for them. I'm asking them to generate their work. They're going to go to the Add or Create button. They're going to choose Docs, and then it's going to generate a Google Doc for the student. Then they're going to type on it, and they're going to turn it in, and here is their question. If you'll recall, I could assign this to multiple classes if I wanted to, or just individual students. If I had more listed here, I could check the ones that get this. I can give it some points. I'll just give it 50 points for now. And a due date, let's just say tomorrow. And we want to remember to put it in a topic. We love to organize, so we want to put it in a topic. My only topic is called assignment types. I will get to these things in the next round. This does not have a rubric with it, so I'm going to go ahead and hit assign. All right, so that's assigned. Now I'm back over here. I'm a student looking at my classwork, and I have an essay assignment. It says to click on the Add or Create button. To see that, I have to go to View Assignment first. Then I'll go over here to Add or Create. And it says to choose docs. Okay, I'll choose docs. You can see I could also make this a slides, a sheets, or a drawings assignment, but I'm going to make it a doc. And I am going to type my answer here. I'm really slow and laggy is my essay. And then I'm turning this in. Okay, again, it asked me if I want to be sure of that. Yes, I do. And if you'll recall from the last webinar, once I've done that, I don't have any more control over this document. So I would have to unsubmit it to be able to do anything to it. All right, so now back in teacher mode, I'm going to go over to the grades column and see that I've generated a column. I can go in here and see this work that my student has done. It's turned in. I'm going to take a look. Now, what we want to do is be able to comment this time. So the last time we did this, all I did was give a quick grade and return it to the student. But this time we can give some feedback. I wish I had more words here to demonstrate this, but just so you can see how it works, I'm going to highlight a word or part of a sentence or whatever it is I want to point out. And then I can click this little plus button to add a comment. And I need to move this over so I can see this better. And I could put a comment in here for the student. Just so you know, you can view your comment bank here. So if you just start to type one of those words, it'll fill it in for you. And so you could comment that to your student. I could select this, hit this little plus. I wish this would stay moved over. My screen's kind of small. I could put excellent. It will finally realize what I wanted to type and just comment that. So you can add as many of these comments to your comment bank as you want, and it just makes grading much faster. And it makes it more meaningful for your students too, because they can actually see actual comments without you having to take all the time to type them out every time. All right, any questions about that so far? Okay, so at this point, I could comment this thing up, give the student feedback. I could give them a grade here. I could give them a private comment. This just is a separate comment that's not part of the document, and post that for them. And then I'd want to remember to hit return. So I'll go ahead and return that. And we are ready for the next one, unless I need to address a question first. My coaches have any feedback we need to go over? Oh, Raymond, I see your hand up. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi. What does it look like when you've returned it to a student?
Good question. So let me go back in here as the student. And you can see here that I can see that I have a 25 out of 50. And if I go into that document, I will be able to see eventually see those comments there. So, you know, this could be a back and forth thing. The student could see, you know, what they need to correct, and they could correct that and resolve it, and they could resubmit it. You can see I have the turn in button again because it's been returned to me. So, you know, it can be a back and forth thing. It's kind of nice just to communicate and give real feedback. All right, ready to move along? Yes.
There was a question about how to organize the units other than just doing topics.
Let me go back to my classroom. Okay, so let's see, hold on. Here we go. Okay, so organizing by topics. Well, you can organize your class any way you want to. So one example that I gave in the last one was maybe creating a topic that says week of April 7th or whatever day that is that they start. Or you could make it Monday assignments, or whatever works best for you. You are creating these topics, and each time you do, they will show up on the side here. And, you know, whatever makes most sense to you and your students is how you should do it. I'm just calling it assignment types because this is all about assignment types, and I don't know, that's just what I called it this time. Okay, so let's make an assignment with a rubric this time. So rubrics are cool. These are one of the newer things that Google Classroom has come up with. So I have just a sample assignment that I've attached from my drive. I'm making a copy for each student. Down here, I have an option to create a rubric, or I can reuse a rubric. If I've created one before, it's nice that I'll be able to reuse that. I'm going to go ahead and create one. And this is going to look a little bit weird to start, but once you see how it works, it'll make more sense. So the first thing I need to do is name my criterion. So I'll call it something like ideas and content. I can give a description, and I'll just shorten this for ideas and content. The points for this, let's just say this will be worth 20 points. Now for the level title, just for quickness, I'm going to put that same number in here and you'll see what that does in a minute. And here I can say something like, let's see, I'll say above benchmark. Okay, then I want to hit my next one. The number of points again for this one will be 15. 15, I'll say this is proficient. I'll do it again. I'll make this 10 points. 10 here. We'll make it partially proficient. And of course, you would do this for whatever makes most sense for you. And we'll do 5 here, and unsatisfactory. Now, you don't have to type all that stuff every time. If you come up here to these 3 dots at the top of the little section, you can duplicate that criterion. So it'll put you another one down here. The only thing you have to change now is the criterion title and organization. Okay, once again, you can just duplicate that. I'll do one more of these and then you can see how it looks. Instead of organization, we're going to call this voice. I'll call this voice. And that is our rubric. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. We can take a look at this rubric now, and it's worth 60 points. Okay, so it's not the most beautiful rubric you've ever seen, but it'll be functional. I need to go ahead and change my points here to 60. By the way, if you forget to change it to make it match, you can go back and adjust that. That's not a problem. Okay, I'm going to organize this. I'll put a due date of tomorrow, and I'll assign this. And again, the nice thing is you can reuse these rubrics, so you don't have to create this every single time. Okay, back to my student mode. Let's go into the classwork. Okay, an essay assignment, no, a rubric assignment. Here we go. So I'm going to view this assignment. So now I can see this rubric. I can see that ideas make a difference. So if I had a description, I could see what my teacher really expects of me. I could have put more detail in here about how the work should look, but I was just trying to make it quick. Same for organization and voice. I can see each of these is worth 20 points. So I'll go ahead and go in here to my work, and I will complete my work. Here is my answer, and turn it in. Okay, going back to teacher mode, grades. So this has generated a column to the left that I can see here that I need to go in here and grade. I'll take a look at the work. Okay, so this time when I look at the assignment, I have the rubric over on the right side. So I can look at the work here. If I want to remind myself of what I'm looking for, you know, I can check it off here, or I can just do a really quick little click here. That gives 10 out of the 20 points. This would give 15 out of the 20 points. And this one over here gives 20 out of the 20 points. You can override these and maybe do something in between if you wanted to, and it will just add the grade up here as you go. Again, you can still make private comments, but it's just a really quick way to grade on the rubric. Okay, so once you've got it graded, we're going to hit return, and I'll show you what it looks like to the student. All right. Oh, it just did it for me. I didn't have to refresh. So I can see here I got 10 on this part. Again, if I wanted to look at this and see, why did I get partially proficient? Hopefully you'd have a little bit more information in your rubric to explain what happened. But they can see they did well on the voice. They can see they got a 47 out of 60. If you allow them to fix things and resubmit, they have that button there that they could do that with. Okay, any questions on the rubric?
Nikki, can you import rubrics from other sources?
That is a good question. Coaches, do you know that? I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
I don't think you can either, but I'm not sure on that one since they just rolled this out.
Maybe put a flag by that one on the Q&A and we can look it up. But I don't think so. I think they have to be just generated there in Google Classroom.
I can look into this now and get back to you guys in just a second on that.
Oh, that'd be great. Thanks, Lindsay. All right, any other questions? Okay, sweet. So I'm going to get back into my classroom here. I think I'll close up some of these other things so I don't have so much open. Okay, the next thing I wanted to do, and by the way, just so you know, everything I've done so far is just going up here to create and making an assignment. Both of those just came from here. The next one I'm going to do comes from creating a question. And so I'll get to quizzes in just a little bit. That'll be something later. But these next two things are just from generating a question. And then the way I did this was, in one case, I made it so that, if you recall, in our settings, I made it so that all students can post and comment. This is the freest communication they can have on the class. So I'm going to keep it like that for this one. Okay, so when you assign a question to a class, this is the one I want to do here, with all those commenting rights, I've got my question in here. I'll give it to all students. I'll make it just worth 10 points this time. Due date, why not make it tomorrow? They have a lot of work to do. And then I'll give it a topic. So I have the ability to let students reply to each other by clicking this box. And I can also make it so that they can edit their answer. So you have these options here. So I'm going to go ahead and ask this question. And on the student side, all right, I have a question. This looks a little different. It's got a little question mark there. So I can go in, I can view the question. They have full commenting rights. So I wanted to show you this because this gets very confusing. And I actually just tested this very thing with some fellow coaches of mine. And I asked them to answer a question that I had on my sample site that they were a part of. And they both answered here. This is not where your students should answer. So you'll want to tell them, do not comment in class comments, because what that does is generate just a comment that everybody can see. That's not really their answer. They need to go over here and type their answer here. So I personally feel like this is well, not a little, it's a lot confusing, but just make sure that they need to comment over here. This is my answer, and I'm going to turn it in. Yes, I do want to turn it in. And once I do, it gives me the option to see my classmates' answers. So I'll go up here. And if anybody else had answered, I would be able to see those and I could reply to them. Okay, everybody good with this so far? Any questions coming up?
I actually just posted in the question and answer document about the importing of rubrics. So if you go to classroom.com, click your class, click classwork, create an assignment, and then you can import a rubric from Sheets by clicking the Add Rubric button.
Oh, so you can put it in Sheets and put it in. That's kind of fun. Okay, well, something to play with for sure. Maybe I can practice that and present that on one of those April 6th things we're doing. Thank you, Lindsay.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that showed you what this looks like when you assign a question with students having full commenting rights. So I'm going to change my settings now and make it so students can not do anything. Only teachers can post or comment. And I'm going to hit save. And now I'm going to ask this question. So this is the one with no commenting rights. I have everything in like I want, except I want to give it a topic, and I'll ask the question. All right, so that's been assigned. Head over to my student account. Look at my classwork. All right, I have a question to answer again, it looks like, I think. Is this one posted yet? Is this the newest one? Let's see. There it is. No commenting rights. Okay, here we go. So view the question. Okay, so you'll see here, this looks a little bit different. It's actually less confusing, I think, because I can't make a comment here. And so they'll have to look around a little harder to find a place to type their answer. So here is my answer. I can turn it in. And then I can see classmate answers, but I don't have an option to reply to anybody, which I thought was a little bit weird because in the assignment, I did check for them to be able to reply to each other. Let me go back and make sure I did that. Let's go back in here and look at it. Yeah, so I had the check here. Students can reply to each other, but there's not really a way for them to do that I can see. Fellow coaches, do you know anything about why this is?
I was looking up more information about the rubric, so I missed that last piece. Can you say the question one more time?
Sure. So as a teacher, when I made this question, now I have the class set to no rights to comment. So that could be just it. So this check mark might mean nothing in this case. I checked here that students can reply to each other, but when I go in as the student, I do not have a way to reply. Whereas on the other one, I did. I had a little reply, you know, send a class message or whatever. So as far as I can tell, if you have it set so that only the student can post, that's the way it's going to be, even if you ask a question. So students may be able to see each other's answers, but they can't reply to them.
Those global settings that you click
Mm-hmm.
override everything, and so I'm not sure why that doesn't disappear when you change your setting, but
Okay, good to know. So yeah, I thought that was a little confusing. So now we know. Thank you very much, Laura.
If you clicked edit, like students had access to edit, would that then, when you were back in your assignment?
Let me go back here. Let's see. So back in the assignment, if I click, can they edit their answer? I think they would still be able to edit it if I click this. Let me go ahead and see if I can change it.
But could they edit each other's to make that commenting possible? Just a thought.
I don't know. Let's look and see. Let's see. I can maybe just refresh this and see if it changes anything on this page. No, I can go to my answer. It's given me the edit button now. I could edit my answer and I can see classmate answers, but I cannot respond to those answers. So now we know it's a global setting, and even in this type of a situation, they still don't have the ability to comment to each other. So now we know. All right, I'm going to head to the next assignment unless we have any questions that have come up. Anybody have questions?
I think with the question problem of commenting, I think when you create a question, it gives you an option to allow them to comment or not. And that's different than the setting you have for your classroom overall. I think those are two different, that's what I'm thinking, but
Okay.
I could be completely wrong.
Well, okay, what I'll do then is I'll just, I'll keep, so are you saying if I have the class set to not be allowed to talk, when I
Right.
create the quiz or create the question now, if I tell them that they can reply, that you think it'll show up?
I do.
Let's see. All right, let's see. Test question. This is perfect. Thank you. I love it when we all learn together. All right, let's put this down in my assignment types and ask the question. So now I'm saying, yes, you can reply to each other, even though my master settings say that you can't. All right, so let's go back to classwork. And is this my new question? This gets confusing after you see all of these different assignments listed here. Here's the test question. All right, view the question. My answer, turn in. Okay, see classmate answers. I still don't have a way to respond. Whereas I did earlier when the class was set that way, when I had the whole class set. Let me go back to the student. Oh, shoot. Did I shut that whole window? Let me go back here. 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to go back into the original assignment that I had in here. where I did allow students to comment. That was this one. So I'm gonna, I've already turned it in. It won't let me. Yeah, it's not letting me comment at all now because I've just set the whole class that way, and I can't respond even on the original one where I could. But yes, if you guys play around with it as teachers and you find out otherwise that you find a workaround with this, please let us know because it would be good to know that. All right, ready to move on to quizzes. Questions? All right, so this is awesome. This is my favorite thing. So I'm going to go ahead and go in here to edit. And you can see that I've already created this assignment and I already have a quiz attached to it. I can just tell you that you can do this one of two ways. You can create the quiz first and just have it saved in your drive and go in and add it just like we've been adding everything else. Or if you want, actually there's a couple of other ways to do this, but if you want, you could go up here to create and do quiz assignment, and you could create the quiz right there on the fly. So it creates a blank quiz for you that you can go in and just start working on, create the quiz there. So I'm going to start working on this quiz. Have you guys, we've done a Google Forms webinar, right, coaches? Is that true?
Yeah, we've numerous Google Form sessions are up on the recording site.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. I'm just going to show you here that you can start making some questions. You can make them multiple choice, paragraph, short answer. You can, if it's multiple choice, you put your answers in. Answer 2, answer 3. Now, I think in remote situations, it's important to give as much feedback as you can. So when you go in here to the answer key and you give the correct answer, I would also opt to do answer feedback. So you would want to put maybe some feedback for incorrect answers, maybe attach a link that they could go to get more information and add that in. And also put some feedback for correct answers, like great thinking, and then save that. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on that because if you haven't been to one of those webinars, you can view those online. But I want to let you know that you have lots of options when you generate these quizzes. So I'm going to go and show you one that I've already done. And this is the one that I've assigned for students. This one is called Seasons Quiz. Here it is. All right, so I created this little quiz here, and it has a mix of multiple choice questions, and then there's one long answer. So if I have a self-grading quiz, it'll do these first 3 questions, but it won't get this last one. And so I want to show you what that looks like when you assign something like this on Google Classroom. So let's go back to Google Classroom. Now, when I tried to assign this quiz and take it myself, I couldn't do it because of something with permissions and DPS and all that stuff. So I had to actually have actual people take this quiz in this classroom. And so I'll show you what it looked like when they did that. All right, so I'm going to classwork. Actually, I'll go to grades because this has already been done. All right, so this column here matches up with this seasons quiz. So I'm going to click on it. Hasn't been graded yet. And now what I can do is go in and grade each one if I want to. But first, what I want to do is import grades. When I created this assignment, I forgot to show you how to do this, so I'll go back and do that. But when I created it, I said, yes, I do want to be able to import grades. So let's import these grades. And yes, I do want to do that. And you can see so far that they haven't done so well. Nobody's gotten a perfect score. And the reason for that is because it couldn't grade that last question that wasn't a multiple choice. So I'm going to go into my quiz here now, and I need to grade that final question. So once I click on it, I need to go down to this edit button or edit the form. And that'll take me into the back end of everything where I can see the responses. So I can see I have 5 responses here. And this information is always good here. You can just get a general idea about how everybody did. But I want to either grade by question or by individual. So let me show you question first. You may have seen this if you've been to other webinars. This lets me grade question 1 or question 2 or question 3 or question 4. I'm going to do question 4 because that's the only one that hasn't been graded yet. All right, so what I can do, wow, somebody put a really nice answer here. What I can do is go ahead and give them all the credit here. Just put that little check mark in. I can see here that they, let's see, they get a check mark too. This one will be pretty good too. Somebody likes pizza. They get, now this one's kind of lame. I don't know who did that. I'm going to give them a 2. Okay, so you can just override, you know, whatever, or you can put whatever you want in there. Or you can hit a check mark for any of these. But once you're done, you hit save. And then everything is nicely done, and you can go back to the Google Classroom and import the grades. And now we have better scores. So that's how you can grade a quiz that has a mix of multiple choice and short answer on it. It's pretty simple because it lets you grade by question. Okay, so I know I just did a whole lot at once. Does anybody have questions I need to answer? Anybody? Okay, it looks like I'm getting a
I
few.
have a question. There are some people who have been asked to take attendance in Google Classroom and then transfer that into IC. Do you have, I don't know, options? We've been telling them maybe to create a Google form or to post.
Well, that's an idea. I was going to say you don't really do attendance in Google Classroom, but absolutely you could create a form. So you could, actually I could just do this right now, couldn't I? All right, let's make a quiz assignment. And we'll call it attendance. And I'm going to go to my blank quiz and call it attendance. Coaches, what would you say? Are you here today? How do you ask that?
Are you here today? And maybe put the date.
Okay, so today's date.
It'll timestamp it, so.
That's true. But this also will make, you know,
Right.
I don't know. It's simple to put that in there. Go ahead.
You have to update it every day, right? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, today's date would be good.
Yeah, if you do today's date, yeah, that's okay. And then we'll just gonna put in here,
I would add their student name in there.
okay, student name, perfect, thank you. And that it automatically converts to what kind of question it thinks it should be. And let's make these questions required. So we have to hit this little button for each one of these.
One tip I like with the forms is to not just say student name, say first name and last name, because if I'm going to do attendance, I'm going to create a spreadsheet and that will be easier to sort.
You are so right.
If
Yes.
everybody's writing their name in a different way.
Yep, perfect. And we'll make that one required too. And should we say hours spent on work, or let's see, what else do we need to know about this attendance? We could say, well, why don't we do it so that we can kind of have them tell us what they're working on, like assignments you completed, or I don't know, it wouldn't hurt to have that information. Okay, so this would probably be a short answer. Okay, we'll make that required too. This one won't necessarily be graded, but we will go ahead and just save it like it is, I suppose. Yes, okay, so let's go back. So we have our quiz here. Refreshing my page. Where did that go? Oh my goodness, here's attendance. There it is. There we go. Okay, so then if we wanted to send this out to the students, it's not graded. We'll just make it excuse me, we will make it ungraded. And we would probably have a different topic for this. We could create a topic and just call it attendance. I'm thinking on the fly here, so if this isn't making sense, just let me know. There's no grade category, that's okay. Don't worry if it says this, because this doesn't communicate with IC anyway, and we don't really care about grade categories so much. All right, let's see what this looks like to the student. Although I have to tell you, I don't think I'm going to be able to see this as a student because of those, I guess it's privacy or something. This is a personal Google account that I'm working in, and I don't usually get access to forms, but let's just see if I'll be able to see it. That wasn't the right one. Back to classwork. You know what? I'm in a whole different class. Sorry. I didn't do this in this intermediate class. I did this in a different class. So I did this in my Nikki's Google Classroom. Sorry about that. All right, here's attendance. And let's see if I'm able to see this form. Shoot. Yeah, I'm not ever able to do that. Any of the coaches, are you in my Google Classroom and you could take it and display your screen? I think you're in it, Brian, aren't you? Let's look.
I'm not in it.
Yes, you are.
Let me see if I can log in there.
Yeah.
If you share it with me real quick, what is the code actually, just so I can join your course and then do that really quickly?
Oh, you want the quiz, just send you the link? Is that what you mean?
No, just the code to join your course.
Oh, yeah. That would be a great idea.
I'm in. I'll share just a second.
Oh, sweet. Okay, thank you. Teamwork. While we're waiting, does anybody have questions? I just want to, you can pipe in and ask whatever you like. Yes, go ahead, Raymond.
My question is, I've been seeing how Seesaw links into Google Classroom. How does Google Classroom link into Seesaw?
Gosh, that will be a question, I think, for one of the other coaches. I don't know of a way that it really links like that. Do you guys?
A sign, I guess. Maybe the word is assign. How you can have Google Classroom and then assign Seesaw content.
Seesaw is kind of its own thing. I mean, it seems like everything is kind of inside with the drawing tools and all of that. I'm not sure that they really work that well together.
Mr. Porco, I think what I had understood, and I could be totally wrong, was that the most we could do is kind of import those kids from Google Classroom into Seesaw, and then from there they'd have to be in Seesaw, so we could put on our classroom, check Seesaw for work, but they don't talk to each other except to import from Google Classroom. But even then, in setting up the class, you'd still have to individually invite them one by one because of privacy to log into Seesaw separately. That's my understanding, and I would love to be wrong, so someone correct me.
I think it would be best if you just, when you were creating your assignment, to just add the link to your Seesaw account through that. So as you're making a new, I think Nikki's doing it right now, but if you're making a new assignment, there's that add button down at the bottom, and you can add a link. And that's the way that when I taught elementary school, that's how I shared all websites with my students, because it's just an easy way to click on that. So I think that would be the best option for attaching Seesaw.
Thank you, Lindsay. And now Lindsay is showing you her screen. She's a student in my classroom.
Oh, that's Laura.
Oh, it's Laura. I'm sorry. Hi, Laura. So Laura is taking my attendance Google form. Okay, sweet. So we can go into today's date.
Nice name.
George Washington. Oh, nice job. Perfect. All right, so It's asking for the score. I'm not sure why, but that's okay. I wonder what that says if you ask for the score. You got 0 out of 0. Okay, I just didn't give any points at all. Okay.
Yeah.
But now this will be nice on my end. I'll be able to see who was there by seeing the spreadsheet for that day. So I will go back to resuming. And it will be wonderful if I can find where this is located. This is the right classroom, I think. Okay, good. So here's my attendance, my Google form. I'll go into the edit button here so I can see the back end of it. I'll go to responses. How did I get 2 responses? Brian, did you do one too?
I did not.
Peter did it. He's somewhere else. He did it. Yay. Okay, so the way I would want to view this is by spreadsheet. So I would create a spreadsheet. This is going to be a new one in this case. And so now I can see it was time stamped, but we also asked that question. So we've got it both times. I have the email address. There's no score. I guess if I generate an assignment in Google Classroom as a quiz assignment, it's automatically going to think I want to score it. But here I have who was here and I had what they did. And it's just a nice handy way to see who attended my class. So what a great idea that is. Okay, anybody have any questions?
Nikki, there was a question, a couple questions about how does a student actually, let's say I have a worksheet and I want a student to take a picture on their Chromebook and send it to me. Is that possible?
Yes. So let me think about this. So you can, the Chromebook has a webcam and you can take a picture. I know how to do this in slide presentations. So I guess the best way, I would just have them actually do it as a slide presentation, because when they're in there, let's go into slide presentations. I'm creating a new slide. I think I'm remembering this correctly. You guys stop me if I'm not. So if I want to insert an image, I can use my camera here. And so I'm not going to show you guys what I look like today, but if I wanted to take a picture, I could do it. I have my camera covered. Here, I'm just going to undo it really quick. But I could take a picture and it would insert into a slide, and then I could turn in this slide presentation. So how I would do that on the student end is when I'm in my classwork and I go to an assignment, I'll just go to one of these old assignments I have. View assignment. I could go to add. I would do Google Slides, and it's going to create Google Slides for me. And again, this generates my own document. It's already got my name on it. It's got the title of the assignment on it. And from here, I would go to Insert, Image, Camera. And then that would let my webcam take a picture of whatever it is I want to take, and it would put it on that slide for me. And then you could just hit, or you don't have the turn in button in this case, but when you close the tab, you could turn it in here.
Yep.
Does that answer, or was that too fast?
No, I think that answered it. All the Chrome, depending on the devices your kids have, the majority will be Chromebooks. They will, as Nikki said, they'll have a camera function. So I'm getting that question a lot, not just in this forum, but how can my kids submit student work? So if they turn the camera on and take a picture of it, it'll put it on their device, and then they can either upload it like Nikki just showed you in slides, or they can put it into their drive and attach it. There's numerous ways, but most of the devices will have webcams.
Yes.
So
Thank
there
you.
is a question coming in from Robert that is asking to show how to upload a document again.
Okay. As a student or as a teacher, or does it matter?
I do believe as a student, I guess.
Okay.
It popped up with student.
All right. I'm going to find.
That isn't a Google document.
Okay. I'm going to put a couple of images on my desktop here just for fun. These are just some things I had in my trash because I cleaned off my desktop and it looked really good. So I'll do this as a teacher. So I'm going to go in here to classwork. I'll create an assignment. And I'll say pictures to view. This is not really a good assignment because I don't really know what they would do with these pictures. But if I go here to add and go to file, I'll just locate that on my computer wherever it's stored, or I can just drag the file. So these are just going to be pictures. I'm just going to drag them right in here and upload them. And there they are. And so again, you could do that with files. You could do it with links. If you found a website that you liked and you want to attach the link there, you can do that. Or you can attach a YouTube video. Any more questions? Somebody just said as a student. Let me go back to student and I'll show you that. So this is that same assignment. I'm going to pretend like I haven't submitted this yet, but it's the same thing. You can go to add and we'll go to file and then locate those files. This time I'll just hit select files from your device, and this way I'll find them on my desktop. So they are these two PNG files. And by the way, I held down shift. I clicked one and I held down shift to select both of them. And then when I hit open, they'll upload here for the teacher. So now with this big assignment, I've got the original document that I started with. I have that Google Slides I just started now where I was going to take the picture. And I have 2 pictures to turn in, and I'll go ahead and turn those in. And then I'll show you as a teacher what that's going to look like. All right, so that one was called This is an Assignment. Let's go over to my grading column. Where is This is an Assignment? Here, this one. So it says I resubmitted it, and it has 4 attachments, and I can see them here. So I could go in and open these. Okay, anybody else?
There's a question coming in about sharing student work with another student and the way to do that.
Sharing student work with another student. You mean like working on the same document together?
The question states, when I am within a student's assignment that they submitted, how can I share their work with another person?
Well, what you could do is, let's go back to one of these. Just so you know, let me tell you this here real quick. So if you wanted to share it with another teacher or anybody, let me just show you where this work lives. So in the classwork tab, you have these 2 tools here. One is the calendar, which is great because we don't really use this Google Calendar very much, but it's great for students because it'll put all of your assignments on here so that they can see them. So I did want to just touch on that while I'm in this area. But this is the class drive folder. So I'm going to go into the class drive, and when Google Classroom is created, it creates a folder in your drive to store all the work, and it's really very organized. So once this loads, I'll show you what it looks like. So it's in my drive in a folder called Classroom, in a folder called Google Classroom Intro, and then within there we have all of the different assignments. So I'm going to go to that one I just submitted as a student called This is an Assignment. And so I think I'm the only student that submitted this. So all of my stuff is just right here. But these are all those files. So you can see my work here. And if I wanted to share this document with somebody else, it's just a plain old document like anything else. And you can go up to the share button and share it with somebody. So does that make sense? Is that what you were referring to?
Yeah, and I think the question might have been how to share with other teachers, and you can also make another teacher a co-teacher in the classroom, and they'll have access to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to have a co-teacher in your class, you're going to head to the People tab. Right now, I'm the only teacher, but if I wanted to invite another teacher, I just go here, and I would invite them with their dpsk12.net email, and as soon as they receive the invitation, they can join the class. All right, anybody else? We got about 10 minutes.
I have a question. I got lost when you showed how to grade that last question, but that looked really useful. I apologize. Could you do it again?
Oh, absolutely, yes. So, fellow coaches, if you're in my class, can you take this assignment I'm going to give you? I'm going to create an assignment, and I'm going to call it a form assignment or a quiz. And this is one that I already have created. It's in my Google Drive. And I know which folder it's in, at least one of them here. Let's see, in sample assignments, copy of season. So this is going to be a new, fresh copy of this quiz. So I'm going to assign it to all the students in the class. Actually, let me do what I say. I'm going to put it into a topic.
Actually, could you stop just for a second and talk about what that locked mode on Chromebooks is? I think that that's a really good piece of information for people to know.
Thank you, Lindsay. I don't even know why I didn't think about that. So this is a newer thing that that Google is doing. If you turn on this button here, then it puts the browser into a locked mode. So it prevents students from being able to search other websites or they can't leave that browser, that window that they're in as they take the quiz. So it just keeps them a little bit more honest. But in the situation that they're in, I don't really know how you could keep them off of their phones. So I don't know, maybe open book test would be more in line with what we're doing right now. But just so you know, you can do a locked mode on Chromebooks, which is handy in a school setting. All right, so I've got my quiz attached. I have it in a topic. I'm going to assign it to my students. So Laura and Lindsay, are you in this class?
No, I just need the code to get in there. So if you just go to your homepage, there we go.
There you go.
YCD.
I'm in there
Thank
now.
you.
Oh, you're in there too, Brian?
I believe so.
Good. So I'll have at least 3 people to grade here, and you can see how you do it. Let me go back to it real quick. I want to show you one thing. Let me find this here. So you can see I did have grade importing turned on. I think that's just the default because I forgot to do it actually. So thankfully it was turned on. So that'll let me import all of the scores from the multiple choice part. So that's a good thing. Oops, I didn't do anything different. I'll just cancel that. Okay, have you guys finished your quiz?
Almost.
Let's see. Okay, so it says it was assigned to 10 students. So far, 0 have turned it in. They're taking their time and putting really careful answers in. That's so nice.
I'm trying to not use Google to Google the answers.
Oh, okay.
I should have turned mine in.
There you go.
Oh,
Okay, thank you. This is still worth 100 points, which is actually not true. Let me go back and fix that real quick. It's not worth 100 points. What was this worth on that form? I can't remember anymore. 5, 10, 15, 20 points. It was worth 20 points. This will just make my life easier if I have it right to begin with. So updated the point value. All right, so now I'm going to go back to the grades and check out the form assignment. All right, so I've got this turned in from Brian and Lindsay so far. I'm going to go ahead and just import these grades. And then Google will do its best to import what it knows, which is the multiple choice part. And did you guys not get any of them right?
Oh, I don't think I tried to do it right.
Okay, both of you missed everything so far. Okay, so what I want to do is go back into, sorry, I just got myself out of there somehow. Go back to grades. I'm going to click on the form assignment here and go actually into the quiz this time. I can't see any responses from here. I have to go down here to edit first, and then that's how you see the back side of the form. All right, so now this is being very, very slow. There's my 2 responses. So I'm going to click on responses here. Now I have the option to grade this. Well, first of all, I'm just looking at a summary right now, but I haven't shown you this. I can grade this by individual student, which means I would have to go in and grade all the questions for every student and then switch to the next student and grade all the things. Now you can see it's already been graded for me, so I don't have to worry about doing a ton of grading. But I just know that there's one question that I need to go in and grade for everybody. So I'm going to grade by question, and I'm going to select the last one because that was the short answer. So now that I'm in here, I can go in and I can see somebody said beep. I do not think that is worth a full score. I'm going to give them 1 point. And this person said summer. At least they gave me a season. So they answered that. I'll give them a 3. And then I'm going to save that. And now I can go back to Google Classroom. And I'm going to import the grade. So they should have a couple of points now because they did all right on that last question. So 1 point, 3 points, and that's how you do it. So then, you know, hopefully.
Sorry. A question just popped up in the chat about changing the score of the assignment easier. And I just wanted to show that if you went into that top where it says 20 points, right under your classroom.
Oh, yeah. You're so right. Thank you. I could have just changed it right there. Yes, thank you.
So that is an easier way.
Forgot that existed. So, yep, you can just do it right here on the fly. If you realized you had the wrong point value, you can just fix it right there. And one thing I have learned over the years is there is always more than one way to do everything. So obviously this is a much easier way to do it. And other people might do it a different way, and that's totally fine. Okay, well, I think we are about out of time. Does anybody have a burning question they really need to ask? Raymond, I see your hand.
Yeah, I'm trying to log in to my Google Classroom, but through, say, as a child, so I can see what my stuff looks like. And I keep on putting in my code, and it says that it's not valid. Is there something tricky that I'm missing?
Well, the way I've been doing it, and it's not perfect because I can't take any of my own quizzes, but I just log in with a personal account. So as a DPS, in the dpsk12.net account that you're in, that's a teacher setting. So have you created maybe another Gmail account that's not DPS and tried it that way?
I will.
Okay.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I will. That sounds like the answer. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Any other questions?
Bye.
Oh, bye. Thank you so much. Thank you all for coming.
Hey, thank you guys. Thank you.
Hopefully we'll see you again when we come back after break. Happy spring break, everybody.